be right back here again, man. It's G Code in Atlanta, Georgia. I am DC2Smoov. Let's get this thing popping. Let's go.
What's up, everybody? This is the G Code. Got the game on lock, no cheat codes. I am Ryan Wilson, the gentleman and the attorney. I am joined with these distinguished gentlemen. Tell them who you are.
Alex Smith, business law attorney.
I go by Chizzy, personality host. All the parties in the city.
Julius Williams, ex-NFL player, philanthropist.
Glenn Phillips, college football coach, youth advocate.
All right. We are here live in Atlanta, Georgia, at the Gentleman's Lounge. We got some great topics for you today, something that's near and dear to my heart. It's about black men and the law.
Uh-oh.
But before we get into that, I know somebody on here did something kind of crazy. Maybe not, but we'll see. This is what we like to call About Last Night. Can somebody tell me what happened?
I got you on that one. So, it's not crazy, it's not too crazy, but it's just real life.
All right.
So my daughter just started crawling. So every time, she's 9 months.
Okay.
So she just started crawling every time I come in the house from work, long day at work. She's crawling around, following me around the house. So as a dad, I love it. You know, that's my little angel. Y'all touch her. I'm ready to go. And the turkey comes off.
Right.
And realness come out. But yeah, that's the real piece.
That's it. It's real peace. Black men raising their family, being fathers. All right. Father figure. You know what I'm saying? That's not an image that's portrayed out, but this is the reality. We are that.
Is it?
All right.
That's it.
All right. So I want to get into our topic for today: black men and the law. Now, unless you've been under a rock in the last couple of years, you know names such as Tamir Rice, Michael Brown, Philando Castile, and the list goes on and on, unfortunately. But that's not the only aspect of black men in the law, but it is the most prevalent, and it is one that is very important, I think we can discuss today. And in my, I guess, to start this off, I want to know if any of you all have had interactions with the police, be they positive or negative. Can you just give us a summary about your experience with the law?
I had a experience probably about a year ago. I was actually traveling. I won't get too deep into it, but I was traveling on the road. And actually, me and a buddy of mine were actually smoking hookah in the car while we were traveling. I don't know if you guys know what hookah is, but we were smoking hookah in the car. Long story short, yeah, we had to get there. It was like 8-hour drive. We had to get there. So as we smoking the hookah, we ended up getting pulled over for speeding, of course. And the police officers did not know what hookah was at all. We was in a suburban town, like they did not know anything about hookah. They thought that of course, that led them to search the car because they were like powerful cars. I understand they got to do their job. Long story short, as me and my boy, we got the car as they searched the car. When they finally got us out of the car, it took about 20 minutes to get out. For other reasons. The police officers were not against us recording. They were not against us, talking to them. We told them we had a concealed weapon in the car. And they were all for it. So they said, we're not here to discriminate against you guys or intimidate you, nothing like that, but we want you to record because we want you to see the other side, the positive side of the officer instead of just seeing people recording the negative side. You know what I'm saying? They follow everything procedure-wise. So that was a good experience that I had with police officers outside of, just the city that I live in. This is on the road in the country that's down. So that was my positive experience with a police officer.
On that vein, I think, and that's a good thing, I'm glad that you have shared that experience with us because researchers have studied this topic, and black men are 21 times more likely to be killed by an officer than our white brothers and sisters. There's also research that says that officers are more likely to perceive a threat where one does not exist when the suspect is black, and less likely to perceive a threat where one does exist when the suspect is white. Also, the FBI records data every year where it's the law enforcement officers that are killed in the line of duty. The statistics have shown that you are far more likely to either be killed by a white male or in a car accident if you're a police officer than by a black man. But somewhere we've gotten this perception that the black man is the threat. which is why they're responding. Oh, I was afraid, I was scared, so I shot. But the statistics that the FBI keeps says, it ain't the black man that's killing people.
Right.
So, what are you all? What is the solution? I know we like to protest after these things happen, but is there a solution to this thing?
You got to be careful because here's the thing: I never negate a police officer has a dangerous job.
Okay.
If you see something occur, you have literally a split-second decision to pull your gun and to either fire or to wait and see what's going to happen. Now, in the midst of that, you might be fired upon. That might be the end of your career and your life. So I never negate that. I've never been a police officer shoots. At the same time, you have to acknowledge any, I wouldn't say racism, I'll say racial bias.
Okay.
You know, where if you see a black guy in a hoodie, he's perceived as a threat versus a black guy in a suit.
Right.
Now, you categorize that black guy as an upstanding individual, but the black guy in the hoodie that might be the best DJ in town, hello DJ, you just put him in a negative light, so you're more apt to pull your gun and actually pull the trigger before waiting a quick second to give him the benefit of the doubt. So we have to be careful, and so what it comes down to, and a lot of our mayors throughout the United States, a lot of our congressional figures have said, hey, we need to take a step back, and we need to properly train. We need to retrain our officers to make sure that they're not buying into that racial bias, you know, because we all have bias.
Yes, true.
You know, so but when we are training ourselves to overcome it, then we become better as a society. You know, so that's just my piece on it.
I believe I agree and disagree because I feel that we can train them all that we would like, but a person is born who they are and they're raised the way they are with the values and that their parents give them. So when put in that situation, I feel that a person can only act as he was taught. So I think a solution would be for the people of ethnic, descent, or whoever, deems as the person that's inferior at the time, to continue to share their stories, continue to film as you did when you got pulled over, continue to report these instances where people have been done wrong, and maybe collectively over time, and bring more awareness to the situation and less of it happens. But I don't think that, training them, because this, to be honest, it's something that they, at the time they want to do it, they're not so scared of a 16-year-old kid is going to take his life in hands and shoot him in cold blood, I think it's almost an excuse after the fact, this is what's going to save me, I was afraid. Because if I'm a 30-year-old police officer, then I know I'm with a gun. I know, I don't care if you got the biggest gangster in town, when he gets pulled over by the police, he's going to be intimidated. And all the gangsters are going to go out the window. Right. Nobody wants to go to jail. Right. So, right. Okay, how big and bad, how tough you are. Right. Nobody wants to go to jail, but they don't want their freedom taken away. So, I just think it's the biggest thing that we can do is continue to collectively get the data and report when it does happen. So maybe they're intimidated, but next time I can be the person that's made the example.
Okay. One thing, what I was thinking about was, kind of to piggyback on what you said, law enforcement officers, they only have a split second, if even, to make a decision. I just don't get it how our U.S. military troops can use rubber bullets to, as far as to capture an inmate or whomsoever they're out there to capture, or SEAL teams and so forth. But here, we just shoot in cold blood to kill. I feel like if you're going after somebody, it could be a routine traffic stop. Officers, as they have the tasers, they should have rubber bullets. In my opinion, if you feel intimidated, two shots, that's enough. I don't care who you are. You're gonna come down.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
It's uncomfortable.
And don't shoot to kill.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So,
but they train them like that though.
Right. And I understand that. Well, with the rubber bullets, you're still good. And I may be wrong. I may not have this right as far as the rubber bullet severity of cost of the body. But I feel like that'll be better because at least the man get a chance to explain himself. Because if you shoot him and he was the wrong person, that guy at least gets to live. Right.
But
You see what I'm saying?
I disagree though, because I'll tell you why. If they are put into a real situation where there is a real criminal, where there is somebody capable of taking their life, you know, a rubber bullet wouldn't do him any good. He would lose his life. But at the same time, I feel like he shouldn't make a sheer judgment. Now, if you pull a person over, they're a 7-time felon. You know, of course, you know when you approach their car, you want to approach it with caution.
Right.
Like for me, as a professional defensive lineman, I know I'm waiting for an offensive lineman to shoot his hands. When he shoots his hands, I'm going to knock him down and get to the quarterback.
Yeah.
So in that situation, if you pull somebody over and they're a threat before it happens, then I understand walking up and your hand is on your pistol and you're ready to go. But if you got a routine traffic stop, you know, if somebody's blinker was out, why are you so quick to, you know, why is it a split-second decision? It is a split-second decision because you already deemed it a threat.
Exactly.
So if something happens, you bang.
Right.
That's how you have a Philando Castile.
Correct.
You know, where his wife or girlfriend is sitting in the seat. He is the threat with a child in the back seat. Right. You know, so I feel like you should use better judgment as you approach a car. Even like it's a child and a woman. Why are you so quick to shoot this man? Other than he's a black male, I should be ready to shoot him. You know.
That one of the things that you all, Alex and Glenn, y'all kind of touched on is what scientists call implicit bias, and it is whether it's from our music, the way we're portrayed on television, whatever. This bias that the black man is a violent, dangerous being plays into these decisions that these officers make. Like you were saying, you got a baby and your girl in the car. I don't know anybody who out here riding dirty and got their baby and their child in the car.
Ain't gonna shoot a cop.
Ain't gonna shoot a cop in front of your baby. Right.
Exactly.
But because this implicit bias is playing. But one of the things that researchers have identified is that officers are less likely to respond or perceive the black man as a threat when there is a repeated exposure to basically black people, for lack of a better term. And one of the things that I think has been tossed out or used in certain circles is called community policing, where the officer gets out of his car, he's walking the block, he's talking to grandmas, talking to people. My question to you guys is that, one, what community will that work in? Two, is the distrust just too great? Are we going to be suspicious? Are they going to use this as a subterfuge for trying to find out if we selling drugs, or now they say they're going to be community policing, but they're actually trying to build a case against us? Or do you think community policing will actually work?
I think they probably will. I mean, you got your police officers that probably will try to build a case off of trying to be a little bit too friendly. But as a community, though, we have to be open to that. If we're not open to that, then of course, police officers are already on edge, like, oh shit, like we don't already want to deal with it. Black people, minorities, so to speak. So by them being community policing like that, getting out and interacting, like some people may not be all the way with it. You know what I'm saying? Like they may feel like, 3 years ago you killed my little brother. Not you, but what you stand for.
Your uniform,
your department. Your department killed my little brother 3 years ago. So I don't really I'm not really feeling you. Whatever you got to say, I'm not really feeling you. So as the public, we have to be open to that. I don't think everybody.
On that one, it's just like it's two parts of it, because I'm not going to put all the onus on police officers. Part of it is us.
Of course.
Oh yeah. Part of it is us. And one thing my dad told me when I was young, he said you can't go out there and do what everybody else does. Yeah. Because you're not them. So if the bar is here, you need to be here.
Yeah. Okay.
You can't go out there and it's just the reality of it. You have to face your own reality. Everybody has to do that. So with community policing, it's one thing if you had something devastating that happened to your family. The best thing for you to happen is for the police department to come in and embrace you. Now you don't see them just as a force of authority. It happens rarely. But here's the thing though. The thing is that when you're talking about changing dynamics and fixing the problem, now when you embrace community policing, which was an old concept that's now trying to come back, is now you have, I know your police department, I know your officers. This officer won't be so apt to do something because he knows you.
Correct.
He knows mom, he knows dad, he knows your family dynamic on a personal level, right?
That's it.
So at the same time, you know them. So you're not gonna be too quick if you're doing something you're probably driving and be like, oh, okay, hey, oh, you got it.
Right.
Can you just take me home?
Yeah.
But we have to be, as a society, we have to stop being so sensitive. You know, just to be real, we gotta stop being so sensitive and be able to allow community policing to work.
So one thing with me, like, see, I grew up in just north of Atlanta, a city called Norcross. And we had an officer there that we'll be out there shooting the ball in the cul-de-sac. And we had an officer that ran our neighborhood. You know what I mean? That was his beat or whatnot. And during the summers or whatnot, he'll come by, he'll jump out his car, white guy. Yeah. He'll jump out his car and shoot the ball with us. You know what I mean? He'll talk to us. So I was probably in my 4th, 5th grade. So at that time in my mind, because I didn't have any hatred that was built in me from my parents, I didn't lose a brother to the hands of another officer. So in my mind, I'm like, police is cool.
Right.
You know what I mean? I could have probably seen myself as being an officer because of what he did, which was kind of similar to like community policing. Of course, he didn't walk the beat. He pretty much patrolled in his car. But that kind of, like I said, changed my mindset until I got older. And then, of course, with social media and everything, you start seeing these things, and then you hear the Emmett Till story as you get to middle school and high school. You're like, whoa. What, you know what I mean? So it's like,
this happened. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's too much. We've taken too many losses. I think, and that's me being honest, I could be wrong, but I think we've taken too many losses as a community, black community. I'll say that, to just be open honestly. That's my point. I feel like we've taken too many losses.
Dude's got the DJ.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I just like to go back on what Ryan was speaking about, because he had mentioned something about music. And I feel like it's not these rappers' fault. In all honesty, you know, you have to look back, back to date on, where we were put in the first place. We were put in these places where low income was being used to keep us down. You know what I'm saying? So we were only the drugs were coming in, on a regular basis. They weren't coming we didn't have those connects. Who else would have those connects? Right. So all of that comes into place, and once that comes into place, you get people who can, people who can rhyme, people who can, rap and do little things. They decide to put someone in the studio, then they put that in the studio, then it comes out to the radio likes it, then it gets pushed out to a different state. Things like that, it leads up to becoming a top artist, like Biggie or Tupac or The Game or 50 Cent, things like that. We're put in that predicament and expect us to not talk about something that we're already in. You know what I'm saying? And that this is why other demographics don't understand why these rappers rap about it. It's because it's what we grew up in. This is where we were put. You know what I'm saying? So to get out of it, this is where we gotta go.
I think it takes more proactive males in the community to help young kids understand that as a rapper, it's therapeutic to talk about that. But it's not something because he says, I'm in the bando with 10 pounds, it's not something that you should be able to go out and do.
It's not something that's...
You should, you should strive more. You should want to... I mean, if you're into music, you should go try your research to be a DJ. If you like to argue and like to solve people's problems, you should be a lawyer. If you like to run around the neighborhood and you're athletic, maybe you should try to be an athlete, or whatever. You like football, maybe you should try to be a coach. It's not enough of those role models per se to help them understand this rapper is just speaking as a community about some of the things that we're pushed to go through, but you don't have to make that choice.
And I definitely agree with that in this day and age. And like I said, I'm just solely speaking on how things even started and how kids even looked up to that. And it goes on for generation after generation till today. Right. You know what I'm saying? And even that, is certain songs that you can go back on and you can realize some of these songs are actually samples from older artists who've either died, retired, whatever the case may be. I can name plenty off the top of my head that's in this day and age that's hot on the radio right now that are samples from older songs back in the day. So these kids know, you know what I'm saying? These kids understand, and I think you're right about us as a community, changing changing the fact that it's not cool to do that, but it's something you had to do at the time that, you know, this is what it is and this is what I gotta do to get out. So, yeah.
This was about black men in the law, implicit bias. We're talking about recording officers, positive experiences, negative experiences, a whole host of things. I mean, we could go on for hours and hours about this particular topic, but if you take nothing from today, I want you to take this. As black people, we need to continue to be what we've been, open-minded and accepting. Things will change. Get out and vote in your local elections. Get the judges in place, these district attorneys in place. And when things like, we pray to God this does not happen in your community, but if it does, you know that you took responsibility and you put somebody in that office who's going to take this seriously, and we don't get an officer who kills an unarmed black man and just gets paid leave and a slap on the wrist. We got a DA and we got judges who are going to take it seriously. But also, I want to thank those men and women who serve, who protect and serve. We are not taking aim at you. We thank you. We understand what you do is difficult, and we respect your service. It is the bad apples that we are concerned with. Now, like I said, I'm Brian. I want to thank my DJ. I want to thank these fine gentlemen who are with me. If you want to find me, I am on Instagram at Random Words. That's RANDUMBWORDZ. Random Words. I'm also on Facebook as David Solomon. That's my alternate. But DJ DC2Smoov, take us out. This is the G Code. Thank you for watching.
Who the plug? Plug me up. I'm just keeping it $100. I've been plotting to get my money up. Who the plug? Who the plug? Who the plug? Plug me up. I'm just keeping it $100. I've been plotting to get my money up. Who the plug? Who the plug? Who the plug? Who the plug? Plug me up. I'm just keeping it $100. I've been plotting to get my money up. Who the plug? Who the plug? Who the plug? Plug me up. I'm just keeping it $100. I've been plotting to get my money up. Who the plug? 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 Me and my money, we too in love. Circle small, sorry, no funny stuff. I'm just keeping it $100. Go for the wedding or runner up. Run to my pockets on armor truck. Who the plug? Who the plug? Who the plug? Fighting on getting the commas up.